The women's suffrage movement was no small event in the beginning of the 20th century, and there was over 60 years of work put into women's ultimate obtaining of their right to vote. This effort was no easy feat and took the determination of thousands. People involved showed immense passion and dedication to a cause much greater than themselves. All from different walks of life, they were united to do what was best for future generations. These women teach people today the power of selflessness when working towards a greater cause. It was 1848 in Seneca Falls, New York. A seemingly random group of 5 women gathered to drink tea began plotting a historic event known as the Seneca Falls Convention. The night before the convention would commence, one woman, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, who was a talented writer with a passion for women's rights, began writing a powerful document that would set the tone for the rest of the movement. It was very ambitious for the time, stating many of the injustices women faced, and proposed an objection to them. Knowing that she lacked public speaking skills, that her prepared documents may be highly controversial, and that even her husband disapproved of her propositions, she delivered the Declaration of Sentiments in front of a crowd of 300 people. Many in the audience were shocked by her words, specifically on suffrage. The criticism didn't stop her. Stanton didn't sacrifice any of her message out of fear of the reaction. She wrote what she believed was necessary for women. Throughout her whole career as an activist, she never let the heckling, pressure, or criticism get to her. She kept on speaking for what she knew was right. Much later in her life, she realized that she would not live to see the day that women would win their suffrage. She kept on fighting anyway. My personal favorite story of the women's suffrage movement focused on a young girl named Mabel. As a teenager, Mabel Pinghua Lee wowed leading suffragists with her influential words on the topic, and they asked her to lead a 1912 suffrage parade on horseback. What made her story powerful was the fact that if and when the 19th Amendment was instituted, she would not be able to vote until the Chinese Exclusion Act, a law preventing Chinese immigrants from holding citizenship, was repealed. She knew this throughout the entire time span of her involvement, yet she pushed on anyway. Despite her small size, Alice Paul was a force to be reckoned with. She was the leader of the National Women's Party and one of the deciding factors in the results of the movement. To attract the attention of the president and other government leaders, Paul instructed her followers to picket at the White House. This involved 4-plus-hour shifts of standing silently outside with signs, no matter the weather, the behavior of onlookers, or other politics. The stakes got even higher after the first 6 months when the chief of police came to visit Paul personally. He warned her that they would start arresting picketers for obstructing traffic, but she didn't listen. They continued even after watching their friends get arrested. The arrests stopped temporarily, but began again 2 months later. This time, when the women were in jail, they began hunger striking. Paul instructed her fellow inmates to refuse food. All of them were willing to die for the cause. Because of their efforts, prison guards began force-feeding the strikers. They did this by inserting a feeding tube through their nasal passages and sending nutrients directly to the stomach. Though it was painful, they continued anyway. Without the absolute bravery, passion, and selflessness that these women demonstrated, we may not have the same rights we have today. The calling they felt to stand up for each other in the future is unbelievable. The ambitious nature of the cause came with consequences, but in the face of hardship, they continued to work. Not for them, but for women as a whole. The strength would not always benefit them, but it does benefit us. All in all, the women who fought tirelessly for suffrage show us just how powerful selflessness can be.